248. 248 views. Or, sadly, when you click on it, it's more like views. Because apparently most people that click on it just kind of like skip and don't make it past like a minute-ish. The average is only a minute-ish. Putting that aside, getting back into character. Why, YouTube? Why that video? I have uploaded how many videos on my channel? Plenty of them that are short. I mean, I have how many music videos that I've made on YouTube? Why did it pick if I had a diamond heart to suddenly start suggesting, and 248 people have clicked on it? Why that video? I love that video. It was a complete accident to make because I was not intending to make it. I took that show Legend of Two Sen and I took like every scene that Chin Yuan was in and I walked through it all because I am not in the habit of promoting liking bad guys. I am actually very much against that. I very rarely like bad guys. I have an appreciation for bad guys when they are done well, because I have an appreciation, one, for the person that wrote this character that well, and two, for the person that acted that character that well, and like for directors and producers that help put them on the screen that well, etc. I have an appreciation for all of that when they're done well. But it's very rare that I actually like a bad guy because they're bad guys, okay? There's a lot of good guys that I don't like either for the same reason that I don't like bad guys. Because, like, if this person... I didn't expect to start saying all of this, so I don't even know what I'm saying. But, okay, calm down. I can edit this. Since I got on this topic anyway, what am I trying to say? I'm not in the habit of liking bad guys. This day and age, everybody is obsessed with liking bad guys in shows. When I say I like someone, I don't necessarily mean I agree with everything they do, but there's something about them that I like, or that I'm attracted to, or that I'm drawn to, or that I understand at a personal connection level. And usually people like the good guys or the characters and stuff because they're... I mean, that's the thing. In this day and age, it's shifting. Why people are drawn to characters on shows is shifting. People used to like people in stories that held up values that are like morally solid, or like family oriented, or like they're good, strong, that kind of thing. And nowadays, what people are celebrating is not the same thing, and not in the same way, and it drives me crazy. So that even good guys, most of the good guys that I see these days, especially in American stuff, hence why I don't watch much American stuff. One of the reasons why I don't watch much American stuff or Canadian stuff, if you can even find Canadian stuff. Canadian stuff is still so hard to find. But anyway, English things, I just call it. This is why I rarely watch English things anymore, because they just have the dumbest messages, and they're chock full of agenda after agenda after agenda being shoved in my face. Absolutely sick of it. You don't have good storytelling anymore. I mean, it's there somewhere, but you have to wade through so much crap to get to it that, like, you're so dirty by the time you're there that you can't even enjoy it anymore. It's still a lot easier to find it in Asian stuff. Hence why I'm so, and I have to say Asian stuff because, like, there's Japanese, Korean, and now Chinese. I've been watching so much Chinese stuff lately, ever since I find Aichia. But it's so much easier to find a good story still in the Asian stuff than it is in the English stuff. And it's got to do with characters and all that stuff. So, like, I'm not in the, even when I was watching Chusen, I kept calling them good guys. They're the choking hazards because they aren't, like, the things they promote, the things they do, the things... these are supposed to be the good guys. I'm like, yeah. So I'm not in the habit of liking, especially if they're people, like, bad guys that have, like, actually murdered people or, like, done things that are, like, you know, they should be in prison or they should be executed. And they aren't, and they're basically forgiven, and everything they do is like skimmed over, and it's okay that they're evil. We'll like them anyway because they're so funny. I keep going back to that one because it's a good example. In Doctor Who, there's the what do you call them, the Tin Men? I can't remember what they're actually called. They're not Tin Men. I can't remember what they're called, but if you watch Doctor Who, you know who I mean. And there's the Daleks. Everybody loves the Daleks because they're so funny. And I'm like, I don't care if they're funny. One, they're not as funny as everybody keeps saying they are. And two, they're bad guys. They're mass murderers. They're not cool. It's not cool to like them. I don't know why everybody is so obsessed with liking the bad guys. Everybody is so obsessed with liking like rule breakers, the people that are constantly rebellious, and even like my sister and I have randomly talked about in Stargate, O'Neill. We used to like him a lot more than we have lately as we're watching it and going, you know, actually, I mean, there's multiple different reasons why we don't like him anywhere near as much as we used to. Like, one of them is because, I mean, stale characters that go about this far and then they stay that way for the rest of the show. Like, what's her name? The main character from Bones is the same way, where, like, there's barely any growth, if any. Like, this show is so long. American shows go on for eternity. They're so long, and the character's growth is like, 50 episodes later, 50 episodes later, And then there's also the whole way that, like, O'Neill is constantly breaking the rules, and he doesn't have to. He's breaking it because he's arrogant, okay? That's why he's breaking it. It's because he's arrogant, because he figures he knows best. It doesn't matter who tells him, like, he's got no respect for authority. And that's what people like these days, is people that's got no respect for authority, people that just, like, do their own thing, and they don't care who or what or why is telling them to do things. They're just like, no, I'm gonna do it my way no matter what. And for some reason, people love that these days. I'm like, no. And if they're like a murderer, or if they're like some sick, twisted psycho, and people are like, they're so cool, I love them, I'm like, you need help. So, like, I'm not at all in any way, shape, or form in the habit of liking bad guys, and give me a bad guy that people usually like, and I'll tell you why, no, that's not cool to like that person. Qin Lian was different, and I wasn't planning on making a video about him specifically. I mean, I kind of sort of want to, because I spent, like, hours on end making, for myself, it turned out to be 5 videos going through season 1 and season 2, and, like, I did a lot more talking at first, and as it went on, I did less and less talking and more just watching, clipping out all the scenes that he's in, or scenes specifically about him, and putting them all together, which is why I can't put them on YouTube, because they're instantly copyright claimed, because I have, like, the content of the show. So much of the unedited content of the show in it. So I can't put it up. But I was going through that, discussing why I ended up liking Qin Lian so much, even though he's a bad guy, and even though he's a murderer, because he killed innocent people in that show. You see him kill at least 2 people. You see him torture at least 2 people, all of whom were innocent. And I kind of want to make a video, like, I just wasn't expecting to make it now, so I didn't prepare anything, because my brain has moved on, because I focused on that for so long that I got fatigued and have to move on now. And, like, I made that music video at the end of all of that, highlighting some of the acting skills, because that actor was epic with it. He brought him to life in ways that I wasn't expecting him to be brought to life. And then I had to move on from that, and what I actually expected to kind of, even though this was like a, why YouTube, why? I'm also home alone, so I'm kind of chatty, and I'm like, you know, moving on to, the first thing that I watched after finishing up with Qin Yuyan, I went right into Love a Lifetime. And from Love a Lifetime, I went into Under the Power. And the whole reason I went into all of that is because in Legend of Chusen, turns out I'm saying his name wrong. I heard him say his name and I'm like, oh gosh. Like, I was gonna start calling him Ren, R-E-N, because it's so easy to remember that, Ren. But now I have to call him Jielun instead, because Jielun I'm saying correctly, or close enough to correctly, I hope, to be okay, but it turns out you don't pronounce it Ren at all. When you listen to the Chinese people say Ren, it does not sound like Ren at all.
约好的6点半，我是任嘉伦。
任嘉伦，任嘉伦，
我是任嘉伦。
Oh, great. Now I can't call him Ren, because it's not Ren. If I want to call him anything other than Jielun, I'd have to call him Alan, because apparently that is his actual English name is Alan. And for some reason it sounds weird to call him Alan. Okay, anyway, so the actor, he played the six-tailed fox in Legend of Chusen, and I had seen him already in Lost Tomb 2, even though it took forever, and I had to actually, even Vicky could not remember who the heck he played. We're like looking at the name Zhao Yu, and we're like, who is that? Who is that? Who? Could not figure it out. Had to actually go click on a video and, oh yeah, that's who he is in Lost Tomb 2. Right! Completely made up character for the show itself. He isn't in the book. Xiao Yu does not exist in the book. He was made up for the show. I would love to make like a series of like, you know, I could do like a whole series on the Grave Robber Chronicles. I could easily, piecing together the book and the show and how it all works together, because like if you just watch the TV show of that, there are so many chunks and holes missing in between the story, the timeline. So it's really hard to recommend that people go and watch it, because you kind of have to skip over to the book in a few places to figure out what the heck happened in between times, because there's gaping holes and there's long stories why, etc. It'd be so cool to just like, but that would take so much work. I have now jumped to the third topic that I wasn't, I mean, okay, the one topic, Ren, was what? Ren, Jielun. Why? Why did you do this to me? Why? Stupid Romanized spelling. What the heck was I saying? This is the first day I've been alone in a while. Can you tell? I get weird when I suddenly get a day to myself, and I'm like, yes! And I knew tomorrow I had the day to myself, but I didn't expect to have today to myself, so I'm like, oh yeah! But I finished what I was doing earlier, so now I kind of want to go watch my show. Go back to watching my show, because yesterday I paused my show and was doing something else, and I kind of caught up to what, yeah, anyway. Back to Under the Power, more specifically back to Jielun. He is already definitely another favorite actor. He is like amazing. He's seriously cute, like seriously, and he is seriously skilled from the sounds of it. He's a really good actor. And then I looked up and I was laughing my head off when I looked up facts, and I'm like, his dad's a martial art instructor. I could not have possibly been less surprised when I found out that his dad was a martial arts instructor, given what I've seen him do on screen. So, there you go. He's also married with a son, so I can like swoon just a little bit, but he's taken, so I can't swoon too much. He's also younger than me, but that's fine because it's within a couple of years younger than me. Anyway. But he is like an amazing actor, and I've only seen him on 4 things, and he's been the main character in 2 of them, and I'm only on episode 37 out of 55 in Under the Power. I already did a sum up of my thoughts on Love a Lifetime. I absolutely adored Jielun's character in that one. Nalan Yue was epic. I love that guy. But basically everything else about that show, there was a few other characters that I loved as well, but the vast majority of it was just junk. But I already did that video on it. Under the Power so far, What you have to understand about that show already is that there are literally 2 to 3 100% unrelated stories happening. It's basically 2 completely 100% unrelated stories. There's a few scenes with the bad guys that aren't really, but it's still related. But there's 2 completely unrelated stories. Like, I have rarely, if ever, seen another show that was this bad for having completely unrelated stories happening, because there's the main 2 characters, and then over there you got, I can remember one of them's name and I can't remember the other one's name, and I don't even care, because you literally have 2 completely 100% unrelated stories happening. They keep having these characters, their side characters, they keep having them like with the main characters, and the story is moving along just fine, but then they get separated, and these guys are having their own little thingy over here, and these guys are having their relationship and the entire story going on, and this thing over here is like 100% unrelated. 100% unrelated. And I knew that it was going to be like probably at least 80% unrelated. Like, I just knew right off the bat. I have seen too many things. I knew, given what their characters, the character types that they were, and the situation, I barely saw any of it, and I knew exactly where it was going, and I'm like, I don't care. I go away. I have literally skipped every minute that those 2 have been in, having their own story over there, because I could not care less. I literally couldn't care less about those 2 and what they're doing. I don't care. No. And so I've been like skipping everything they've been in, and if you ever plan on watching Under the Power, so far I am absolutely loving to pieces the 2 main characters, and the story that they are following along in has been done pretty well. If I could go in more into depth about it, there is at least one thing that I was not expecting them to do, that I was laughing my head off over. I didn't expect the story to do that, and it was so funny. That at the same time, it's kind of like he got himself into that situation. I'm like, dude, you said that she was getting lazy in the brains earlier, and he was right. Now you're the one getting lazy in the brains. I can't believe you actually fell into that trap. Dude, seriously. But anyway, then so far I'm loving, and I hope they stay this strong, because in the Love a Lifetime video, I said, why can somebody not write a story where the girl is just as smart and cool as the guy is? So far, Under the Power has done exactly that. It's awesome. Those 2 are both so smart, and she's actually pretty strong. She's not as strong as him, nowhere near as strong as him, but she can stand her ground, and usually when he has to actually save her, it's because of something unexpected that basically anybody would have had that happen. And to be fair, she's a pretty small girl, so some of those situations too, it's like she literally doesn't have the physical strength because she's so small. She's like a really small actress. I forget her name. When I was watching another show, I saw her in It, and I really liked her character in that one too, and she had epic hair in that one. And so then when I saw that she was in this one with him, I'm like, I want to watch that one now, because like I'm already loving Julian's acting, and I want to see him in more stuff. And then I saw that she was in that one too, and I'm like, So I started It next. And so far, yeah, I'm loving their story. The other guys, go away. Like, seriously, no. And I could, like I say, go into why, if anybody cares, why I hate the kind of characters that they are, and I hate the situation that they are in. I will never, you would have to pay me to watch that. You would literally have to pay me before I watch that. I will never voluntarily watch what they're doing. So, if you're at all curious about why, I can do a video. So that's kind of what's going on there. It's much easier to update about what kind of shows I'm watching, because that's mostly what I do. I don't go out and I don't do much. And then what I do go out and do, I'm afraid, like, I don't know how much I can talk about, because I don't want to get in trouble. I mean, like, I can't really talk about work and what I do at work, even though some pretty funny things or some pretty hectic things and whatever have been happening at work. I just worked 4 days, not that long ago. I worked 4 days in a row, and every single one of them, I can't remember the first day. I can't remember if anything crazy or whatever happened on the first day, but at least 3 out of the 4 days were they were all unique in one way or another. Seriously, are we coming up to a full moon or just coming off of a full moon? Because that's when things tend to go, what why is this happening? I'm baffled. But I can't really say more than that. Like, the one thing happened at work that made me super happy and has made going to work so much more enjoyable and so much easier. And, like, the stress levels went from, like, 95 down to about 5 just because of that one thing. But I can't really say more than that in a public platform because, I mean, you know, I don't want to get in trouble if I accidentally say something I shouldn't be saying. So that's about all that for work. And life in general, so far at the moment I haven't been doing necessarily a whole lot. I really don't go anywhere and do anything these past couple of years with all of the everything happening that I don't even have to specify and everybody knows what I'm talking about. With all of that going on, so many things got, like, restricted or completely shut down or changed, and I'm one of those people that, like, you know, the more you take away and all of that stuff, the more I'm just like, okay, I like being a hermit, I like staying at home and just immersing myself in dramas and that stuff. So I guess that's where I am, and I guess that's where I'm staying, and that's not really cool. I really should be going out and being more active again. I mean, hey, pretty soon I kind of will be going to church with Mom, going to Bible studies. The Bible studies will be starting up soon, so I'm going to Bible studies and stuff too, so I'll be, like, you know, meeting people and socializing more, and part of me is looking forward to that because I know I need it, and part of me is like, people, I don't want people, I want to stay home alone to enjoy my own stuff. So, yeah, by the way, when you're already an introvert and when you already like staying home and when you already find it easier to, like, lose yourself in stories and all the rest of that stuff, and then you have the force of what happened in the last couple of years happen to you, my word, the work it takes to break yourself back out of that, the damage it's done. So, updates on life, I guess. Can you tell what's more exciting to me? The shows? Oh dear. But, by the way, so now you know, for one thing, why I have been doing more of the reactions to shows rather than talking about life, because what is there to talk about in life that I can safely talk about without getting in trouble? Because if I talk too much about everything that's happened in the past 2 years, it gets really controversial and all that stuff. And if I talk about work, it gets, you know, there's privacy issues going on there because I'm not supposed to be, like, you know, divulging everything at work because that involves other people and other people's lives, and that's, like, you know, that's not something I'm supposed to be talking about on a public platform where everybody can find out all these details. You don't need to know, so no. And, like, you know, but see, another reason why I want to do more reactions to things is because, like, even if you think it's just fluff, okay, maybe it's hard to follow because you haven't seen the shows that I'm watching, and, like, so I'm trying my best to make it as easy as to follow as possible, which is why I explain so much, which is why they end up being so long, because I'm trying to explain so that you'll understand why I'm reacting the way I do. But, you know, it's not just a matter of the fluff. Usually, like, when I'm reacting to the shows and all of that stuff, always, I found more and more, like, always when I'm reacting to something, it's because of something legitimately important. It's not just a show. They're bringing up really important topics or important subjects, and it's like the way they're handling it, they're either handling it really well, and I want to, like, point that out and be, like, happy about that, or they're handling it absolutely deplorably, and I need to tear it apart and tell you why, because it's important to understand how wrong they got it. And sometimes it's super important topics like, you know, what real love is, what forgiveness is, what is really important in life and what is really not, and, like, trust and friendship and all of those, like, deep, important topics that these days people get detrimentally wrong, like, constantly, and it's a circle of, you know, it's on TV because people want it, and people want it because it's on TV, so it's like feeding off of each other. And then there's a little less important stuff that's, you know, I'm an author. I've always been interested in writing stories, and I've always been interested in reading and watching stories. So I'm very interested in how well they do it. How well the story is written, how well the dialogue is done, how well the characters are, whether the characters stay in character or whether they go off the deep end and wreck the story, and or whether there's character spotlighting happening, or whether it's an actually properly well done story. So like there's all of those things that I like to go into, and there's also like the world of the actors themselves and how well they did or how well they didn't. And all of that. So there's so many things to talk about, and some of them are like, you know, important only if you're someone that's trying to write your own story or someone that's interested in that kind of thing. Like, I figured out years ago that I like critiquing things. I like critiquing things. I like analyzing things. I love doing that kind of thing. And what better topic to do it on than a topic that I love for so many other reasons? Stories. So that's why I like doing that kind of thing. But yeah, so my background has been changing around between pictures, and it keeps like reminding me of Jiloon, and so I guess I will stop this and go back to watching Under the Power. I should do by the time, like, because I've got my thing here with all the shows that I want to watch, and there's 3 or 4 others that Jiloon is in that I want to watch, that I can actually watch, because there's other ones that I wouldn't mind watching, but they aren't on Viki or Aichia. So there's other ones, and one that's coming soon on Aichia, but they've been saying that for several weeks already, so I don't know when it's going to be released. I'm going to watch that one as it airs, so I'm looking forward to that one. But there's the other ones that I'm going to watch, and by the time I'm finished, maybe I should go through all of his characters and line them up, who is my favorite to least favorite, and why. Because seriously, Jiloon is... Okay, speaking of, like, what is a real man, by the way? So far in Love a Lifetime and in Under the Power, watch them just for Jiloon's character. That's a real man. Want to go more into depth about what I mean by that? I can make another video if you want me to, but like, takes my breath away. He is so cool. I mean, the characters, and it's like, I don't know what Jiloon is really like in real life. Like, just today I found some videos on, what the heck, here? I found some videos on YouTube of the real guy, but like, I don't know much Chinese and they don't have subtitles, so... But it's just like fascinating once you look up the actor and you're like, yeah, there's certain qualities that it seems like the real guy really does have, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. But anyway, enough rambling. If you want to, I mean, I really should do an actual video about Chin Nguyen, condensing what I did with the 5 videos, more about what it is about him that I was really drawn to. Grave Robber Chronicles, that one would be a lot more, it would take a long time, a lot of endurance, and a lot of organizing and going through if I wanted to combine the books and the shows and give you a proper storyline and following of. It would take a lot of work, and that would take a long time. Like, it would be periodically here and there. What was the other things that I was saying if you want me to do? If I did more about Jiloon and his characters and like what a real man is and all that stuff. I don't know if you want me to talk more about life or if you want me to talk about anything else. Like, if there's anything specific, if you aren't interested in my reactions to the Asian stuff, what else do you want me to talk about? My mental health. I've been like talking to a counselor lately, and I want to go talk to a psychologist. Psychiatrist. And get an official diagnosis for ADHD, because no, I don't have an official one, but for the most part I don't actually need an official one because it's pretty obvious that I have ADHD. But it would be kind of nice to get it because people like to think of it as like I'm just making things up or they don't believe me, that it's like ADHD is a real thing and it really does impact people in a very different way than the vast majority of people think it does. Speaking of things that on TV, ADHD is literally 99.9% of the time, it is nothing but a joke. That I get really tired of the ADHD just being a joke. Squirrel! And everybody, oh, he's got ADHD. For one thing, it's not people with ADHD aren't the only ones that go squirrel. And for another thing, that is like one tiny portion of what ADHD is. And it's like frustrating through the roof that people are like, it's not funny living with ADHD, okay? There are many cool things about ADHD, but there's also a lot of things about it. It's not a joke. Stop it. But I don't know what else I can talk about with that because I've already given a lot of things about it. What else can I say about that? Speaking of ADHD, living with ADHD, and what else I can tell you about it. Notice that little thingy of mine up there that had all kinds of little thingies like my whiteout and hairbands and random papers and tape and all that stuff. It used to be up there. I moved it down onto my desk like a couple of weeks ago, I think it's been already. I think it's been at least a couple of weeks already. And my cord for my phone is in it. And it's been how many weeks now? And I am still... oh, right. It's over here now. Finding out that, like, my autonomic nervous system physically... it is physically hyperactive. My actual doctor with a license and everything said yes. So when I say I'm a highly sensitive person, it's not just all in my head. My body really is reacting over the top to things like lights and sounds. So if you're like, oh, just stop being a drama queen. It's not just being a drama queen. It's a lot deeper than that. It's not just an excuse. It's not just a drama queen. It's not just a whatever, you know. So, like, I'd like to go see a psychiatrist because of all of this stuff. Like, it's nice to have, like, an official, just so that people, like, oh, you're just making that up. No, I'm not, okay? Like, real doctors know about this stuff, and they're telling me this is real, and it really is happening. It's not just all in my head. I'm not just making it up to get attention. I'm not just being a drama queen. It's real. And then there's... But, like, yeah, I don't know. What else? What if you want me to talk more about, like, things other than just Asian TV shows that I've seen and you haven't seen, so you don't care much about it? If you want to have me talking about something, what do you want me to talk about? So, I guess that's it for now. This thing is, like, 37 minutes long, so I'm going to have fun editing it and then go back to the drama, I guess. He's on my background again. From Love a Lifetime, so it's now on UA on my background at the moment. Bye! I'll put the picture that's on my background right now at this spot so you can see what I'm seeing instead of me as this video ends. Bye! Thanks for watching!